Hello friends, so we are going to start with a new chapter today, which is a very crucial and important chapter today, and try to pay attention on the small things here, because it is going to help you in real-time projects and live projects also. So fragments are nothing but a sub activity, okay, and there are few different things handled by this fragment. And fragments are actually lightweight. It is very much lighter than the activity. It has life cycle also, since fragment is the part of sub activity, or it is a part of activity, so it has life cycle. Okay, and trust me, fragments, you will use 90% of fragments in your real-time projects. So let's start with the definition. So fragment represents a reusable portion of your app's UI. A fragment defines and manages its own layouts and has its own life cycle and can handle its own input events. Okay, so fragment cannot live on their own. They must be hosted by an activity or another fragment. So Android fragment is a part of the activity. It is also known as sub activity. There can be more than one fragment in an activity. Fragment represents multiple screens inside one activity. It is strongly recommended that to always use a fragment container view as a container for fragment. So before Android X, as I mean to say Android X, which is the material library. So before Android X, fragment container view was rarely used. Fragment and different things were properly used before, but now fragment container view is used, so that it is very easy to handle each and every fragment transaction in fragments. Okay, so there can be multiple fragments in one screen. In one layout you can have multiple fragments, or in single layout you can have single fragment also. See, in real-time application what happens is, generally you have 3 to 4 activities only, and on top of that multiple fragments comes. So for example, if you have a login screen, so on that login screen, when you click on username, when you click on login by providing username and password, that screen is one screen. Okay, that is one activity, and when you go ahead from that activity, your home page activity will come. Now on that home page activity, multiple fragments will come. So for example, dashboard screen is there, so this dashboard screen will be a fragment. Settings screen, it will be a fragment. Profile screen, it will be a fragment. Or any other tools or view more product screen, it will be a fragment. Okay, so like that, multiple screens have multiple screens can have multiple fragments. That means one activity can have multiple fragments, or you can have multiple fragments in single layout also. Okay, so one fragment can create another fragment, or one activity can create another fragment, but fragment cannot create any other activity. Also, you can use intent to go from one activity to another activity. Okay, that means from fragment also you can go to activity. Now this is the fragment life cycle. Just like we have activity life cycle, we have fragment life cycle also. So whenever that fragment is created, or it is attached with the activity, on attach is executed, on create is executed, on create view is executed. And once that on create view is executed, then your view is actually created, or actually the objects of that view is created. Then on activity created is executed, then on start and on resume. Okay, once you execute on resume or on start, the meaning of this is your fragment is running now. It is running means it is eligible, or it is allowing you to give inputs on the different widgets. Okay, interaction is available with the user after the running state. That means after on resume, then on pause, on stop, on destroy, on detach. These are the other activity life cycles for fragments. Okay, so let's go to the code, and let me give you one example here for the fragment. So let's create one activity, or not activity, create one layout here. So I will write the name of the layout as layout underscore product details, or layout underscore products. So in this layout underscore products, I will add one. Here I will write linear layout first. And into this linear layout, orientation I will give as vertical, and I will add one text view. And into the text I will write product list. (24 SP). Okay, so here also I will give some gravity, which is center. So I have created this text view now, which is showing me the text view of product list. ठीक है, text view of product list. This is one layout underscore products, right? Now I will create one more layout with this, which is layout underscore settings. And here instead of product list I will write settings. Instead of product list I will write settings. So here you can see settings coming. Okay, so I have layout settings, layout products. Now I will go here and I will create one class, Java class, or I can create a fragment. A fragment I can create here. So I will go and create fragment blank blank fragment. Okay, so I will write products fragment, layout name is fragment underscore products. Okay, here we have already created layout. Let's see if it gives us. Okay, it is not allowing us to create another layout, so let it create new layout. We will replace that layout. Products fragment, blank fragment I have created. Source language is Java. Okay, so this fragment is being created, and one more fragment I will create, which is setting. So I will go to fragment, blank fragment, finish. So let me just replace this layout. So layout products I will replace with layout products I will replace with our text view. So here the text view will be our text view, and fragment settings, the text view will be settings. So try to understand why they have taken frame layout here. See, in fragment normally, okay, let me delete these two layouts because we are not using layout underscore product and layout underscore settings. They have already created a fragment underscore products and fragment underscore settings for us, and I am replacing the code so that it will be shown directly and we don't need to change anything. Okay, so why they use frame layout is it's because in fragment frame layout is used so that the fragment can be shown anywhere into the activity, so that behavior is actually different. So what is that actual difference is that I will show you while running the programs in fragments. So I have two fragments right now, and setting fragments and product fragments. So let's check at the code. So what new things are created here? I have created product fragment, which is extending fragment class, right? And these are the arguments. Okay, these are the arguments which are being passed to this fragment when this fragment is being created. That means in the constructor of fragment I will need to pass these two arguments either in constructor or in any other way, right? So these are the two arguments which I will be using whenever I'm creating the constructor, whenever I'm creating this fragment. Okay, so for example, if suppose in product fragments you want to show a list of products, so that list of product will come under parameter 1, which is argument 1. Okay, this is the constructor. We always require empty constructor for a fragment, and we have product fragments new instance. So use this factor method to create a new instance of this fragment using the provided parameters. Okay, and on create we have, in on create it is checking if that argument is null. If it is not null, then it will accept the argument, it will try to check it. And in on create view, inflator.inflate fragment products layout container and nothing else, that is false, right? This is the one way to create a fragment. I will show you one very simple way, and that way is I will just remove everything from here. Since I am not using any parameters, I will not use any of that. Okay, and I will just delete everything, and I will create a constructor public products fragment, and into this constructor I will write super. So this will come, and into this super I will pass the layout name. Fragment underscore products. Done. This my fragment is created now. Now I can load this fragment into my fragment container view in any activity, right? Now how to do that? So let's go to the layout activity main, because this is your main activity, and instead of this I will comment this section, and I will take fragment container view. Why? Because it is recommended to use fragment container view to show a fragment. Okay, fragment container view, width match parent, and height also I will use match parent. Now what I will do is I will assign some ID to this so that I can access this widget anywhere from my code. So I will write FCV. Okay, and now I will just give some margin 30 dp, just for example 30 dp. Okay, now see, in fragment container view, if you want to set a fragment by default, you can add name, and into this name write your fragment name. So if you write products fragment, it will load the product fragments layout here. It will show the product fragment layout here in front of you. Okay, if you use another fragment which is settings fragment, it will also show you the settings fragment layout by default. Okay, so which to use by default is up to you, or you can, or it is okay if you don't use this also. If you want to create it blank, no problem. You want to set it using programming, you can set it. Okay, you can use multiple fragment container views also. If you want to show multiple fragments here, that means separate two different fragments, you can use different fragment container views also, but here I am using only one fragment container view, whereas I want to load multiple fragments into this, right? Okay, so let's try to run this application and see how it works. Okay, so our application is running now, and as you can see, product list fragment we have created, and it is added into the fragment container view. Okay, so this is the technique 1 of adding fragments using XML layout. Now I will show you another technique of adding fragments programmatically, which is dynamically from Java code. So for that we will remove this fragment name. Okay, and this button we will include here, and I will uncomment this button because I want to use that button. Okay, here if I write match parent and weight sum, so if I want to show the weight which is 1, it will show me the button and the layout. I think I need to remove this. Okay, no problem. So here I will assign weight as 0.8 and I will assign weight 0.2. So fair enough. Okay, and height I will give 350 dp. Let's see, 350 or 450. Okay, 450 is enough. So height I have given 450 dp. So this is the area where fragment container view is given, and instead of date I will write change fragment instead of date button picker. Okay, I will change this button, change button, change frag. Okay, button change frag. Now I will go to main activity. Instead of date picker, I have written button change frag. I will copy and paste this line, button change frag, and also I will uncomment this, and here instead of button date picker I will write this. Okay. So my button change frag and set on listener is ready. Button change frag and set on listener is ready. What I am going to do is, once I click on this button, I will load that fragment of product list here into this container view dynamically. Basically right now we don't have any fragment loaded into the fragment container view, it is blank. Okay, now so into the on click I will write get supporting fragment manager. See, fragment manager is what? Get support fragment manager. Fragment manager is the only class, or it is the responsible entity to create or to change or to do any transaction onto the fragments. Okay, so fragment manager begin transaction. This will give us access to change the fragment, add the fragment, or remove the fragment. Okay, here I will write dot add, which is the method, and into that r dot id dot the fragment container view id, which I want to load into fcv. And now which fragment I want to add? Product item list, right? Product item fragment dot class, and third parameter will be null. After that dot commit. See, this is a builder pattern, so that is why dot dot we can add here. Okay, so fragment manager dot begin transaction add. Into the add, what we are doing is we are giving him the destination, and then the class for the destination to show, and arguments. Arguments we are not passing anything, that is one null. And commit. Commit, it will give you final execution of the transaction. Whatever transaction you are writing here, the commit will give you final results of the transaction. So let's run this application and see how it works. So our application is running, and I have refreshed the application. So let me click on change fragment button. Okay, so as soon as I click on change fragment button, product list fragment is showing here, right? So why it is showing? Because we have written a code on click method of this button. Okay, so this is the technique of adding fragments dynamically. Okay, if you write name here, if you write name attribute here, then the meaning of that is adding fragment using statically, that means using the layout. And if you write this piece of code here using fragment transaction manager or a fragment manager, you can add the fragment dynamically from the class. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to start begin transaction, then you need to provide the destination place or destination widget where you want to load the fragment, then the fragment name which you want to load, arguments if you have any, and then commit. Once you commit, it will execute the transaction and it will give you results. Okay, so this is the technique of adding fragments statically and dynamically. And let me tell you, you don't need to add fragments into manifest, because it is a sub activity. Only activities can be added into the manifest. In fragments you don't need to add the activities into the manifest. So let's check more details in fragments in the next video. Okay, and we'll try to pass arguments also, and we'll see how that works. But right now wait for the next video.